This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great day. Safe, fun day. Family, friends, by yourself, whatever the case may be. I hope it was a good 4th for you. And we've got a fun show for you tonight because it's all about you guys. It's time to hear what you have to say. Time to hear what you're thinking about this past week in the WWE and looking forward. We have thoughts about SummerSlam. We even have a comment, I believe, about the Royal Rumble moving forward. Comment about, suggestion about the show. I pre-read the emails today, as you can tell. So quite a wide variety of topics we're going to discuss today, but I'd like to first invite you to go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Like to go ad-free? Good place to go, as well as Apple Podcasts. Both offer ad-free experiences, and they offer 7-day trials if you want to just give us a try and get everything for free for a week and then bounce. That's cool too. But I think you'll stick with us because we post a lot of content every week, and I think that you'll definitely get your money's worth. Now, let's jump into the emails, but before we do, one last housekeeping item. Actually, two things. One, I'm on vacation this coming week. Doesn't mean I won't be able to post. I'm not going to have this microphone. I'm going to be using my MacBook's microphone, which actually isn't terrible, and I have to record from my car. So there is that. But still, I'll be able to record and get you guys, albeit a probably weird schedule, coming up this next week. So it's a full week, but I will be doing the best I can and coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere in the continental United States. So that really narrows it down. But the other thing is, we still have the NXT position open. If you are interested in joining and providing an NXT review for us, you have that opportunity. Just email me, mailbag@wwepodcast.com, and essentially throw in your hat into the proverbial ring, because the only thing that's really required, a couple things. Number one, timeliness. I'd prefer that it's done by the next day after NXT airs, and also a quality microphone. Doesn't have to be a $400 mic. It can just be one that's USB, and that usually is fine. So audio quality is a big deal. So that is a requirement. Now, let's jump into it. Let's hear what you guys have to say. I know that we do have a few emails. Again, wide variety, as I kind of teased at the open. Let's start with the patrons, though, because they get priority. We're going to start with Matt. And Matt B., he says, I just wanted to email in and give you an in-person review of Raw and SmackDown that was in Pittsburgh this week. Raw was live. Then they taped SmackDown right after, and I must say, they were both good shows in my opinion. Crowd was pretty hot, but Raw definitely cooled down for SmackDown. It had its moments, but after 4 hours, yes, 4 hours of wrestling, it's expected to cool down. Lots of families there with kids. Jay and Punk, I think, got the biggest pops. A ton of Jay and Cody shirts, but also Stone Cold shirts were everywhere. Overall, I think the shows were really good. I won't give any spoilers to SmackDown, but there were 2 returns that were pretty unexpected. Sorry again about the long email. Have a good 4th of July weekend. Yeah, thank you, Matt. And I have not seen SmackDown. It is airing as we speak. I don't know what's going on, but I will find out who returned. And yeah, that's to be expected. So the lackluster crowd reaction that we're going to hear in Pittsburgh is, that's good to know, because sometimes a lot of us don't know that it's taped ahead of time, and that's obviously smart on a holiday. So that's totally excusable. So if the crowd isn't exactly hot, I will totally forgive you guys for your lack of enthusiasm after 4 hours. It's just too much. It's too much. But that's cool. Thank you for the tease, and thank you for the notes there. And the fact that they're still selling Stone Cold t-shirts, or people are wearing Stone Cold t-shirts, and Austin has not been in a wrestling ring again. I know WrestleMania 38 was a return match, but it wasn't a long build. It wasn't billed as a return match. It didn't have a long run. So in all intents and purposes, his last real full-time match was WrestleMania 19 when he wrestled against The Rock, and he still has this impact today, 20 years later. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, but thank you for that, and lots of families there with kids. That's to be expected, too, with these TV tapings, less so with the PLEs because it's too expensive for most people to afford. All right. Thanks so much for the notes. And let's go to the next patron. I believe DJ. He says, after watching Night of Champions, it's kind of insane to see that the bloodline in 2025, in this new iteration, it still continues without Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. However, not to spoil the next episode of SmackDown, but there are some familiar faces to come to the aid of Jacob Fatu. Well, there you go for a teaser. Speaking of Jacob Fatu, although by the time you guys hear this, SmackDown has already aired, so it's not really a spoiler. I'm not recording this, this isn't a live stream. But speaking of Jacob Fatu dropping the U.S. title to Solo, I was absolutely surprised because I assumed that Jacob was going to retain after recently winning the title at WrestleMania 41. However, Solo winning this title, even though it is a mid-card title, could be a big boost for his career because Solo's had a lot of losses stemming back from when he got pinned by Cody Rhodes in early 2023 in Monday Night Raw. Anyway, I hope that's not the case for Fatu, but at this point, with the loss to Solo and Solo's army adding members with guys like Tala Tonga and the infamous Tonga Loa, Jacob will need help. I think at SummerSlam, there will be some sort of bloodline rules match for the United States Championship. But at SummerSlam, there will be some sort of... But the question is Jacob Fatu going to regain or does Solo retain? Because looking farther ahead to Survivor Series in San Diego, I like that this current storyline could lead to a Team Jacob versus Team Solo in a possible 5-on-5 War Games bloodline rules match with a returning Tama Tonga to join Solo. But then yet again, Jacob Fatu will need help. Yeah, lots of moving parts here. I will say, by the way, guys, I apologize if you can hear the bangs. Maybe you can. I can hear them better than you probably can. Hear that? Maybe not. Depends how it's coming through on the mic. Fireworks outside. So that's what's popping in the background. That's very possible. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa in a 5-on-5. Again, another bloodline in another Survivor Series War Games match. Totally possible. Is anybody, though, getting bored of the bloodline? I know that they keep mutating it, but it is like a virus that you can't seem to kill. And every time you come up with a vaccine for it, it mutates, and you don't know how to stop it from continuing. I liken it to a virus, partially because I'm tired of the bloodline. I don't care how they kind of mutate it anymore. I just don't. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it being the centerpiece of SmackDown. There is a part of me that feels that way. Probably about half of me feels that way. That I don't even care who joins anymore. I don't care if the entire family rises. The Samoan bloodline family rises from the grave and joins. If they're able to be resurrected, and Roman Reigns is on one side, I don't care. I mean, part of me is really feeling that way. That nothing really affects me. There's no big surprises anymore. And even if there is, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's still entangled in this bloodline story that just won't die. I feel like no matter how, yes, they keep kind of, they're able to adapt and bring new people in and change the story. And I appreciate that. And they're trying to get everything out of this bloodline story that they can. But it's been going on for 5 years now. And it just won't stop. All right. So that's the part of me that wants to complain and say, enough, please. I surrender. I'm waving the white flag. The other part of me is feeling, okay, cool. This is giving guys like Tala Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu a great platform to jumpstart their careers that they otherwise might not have gotten. So there is that. And it's I get it, and I'm here for the star building process. A lot of fans, and I'm not saying I'm better than any fan, I've become numb to and can appreciate the star building process. Not everyone needs to be a big star all the time to hold my interest. And you'll see those fans come in around Royal Rumble time, WrestleMania time, where all they want to know is, oh my God, is Taker coming back? Is Austin coming back? Is The Rock showing up? All they know are the household names that they want to be able to see at WrestleMania, or the big PLEs. Or if it somehow pops into mainstream culture, something happens, they'll peek in and go, huh, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Huh? And then they'll go back out into obscurity. But for a lot of us hardcore fans, or more passionate, I don't care about the label. We appreciate this process. We can appreciate what the Bloodline is providing for new talent. It's a perfect place for them to springboard. So, all right. Anyway, one final thing to mention about Night of Champions: Jade Cargill winning the Queen of the Ring finals against Asuka was not thrilling. She didn't get a pop from the crowd. The crowd was absolutely silent during her post-match celebration and her interview with Byron. In my opinion, Jade's post-match promo was confusing. And then when she said, quote, "A storm is coming for SummerSlam," that part sounded so cheesy and weak. To me, it's like she did not believe her in her promo, and at SummerSlam, it looks like Naomi is going to cash in at her Money in the Bank contract, and the match of Jade versus Tiffany turns into a triple threat, and Naomi wins the title. Jade in year 2 in WWE still needs more work, especially with her promos. Plus, Jade all along has given off, quote, a sense of entitlement. When she first arrived in WWE almost 2 years ago, she's not getting that full crowd support because, one, she gives off that I'm better than you vibe, which turns the majority of the WWE crowd off. And two, WWE never took the time to build a backstory about her as to why the fans should emotionally invest in her. Jade and the WWE creative have a lot of work to do to help Jade get over with the majority of fans. And one final thing that still bothers me about Jade and the company is that I don't understand why WWE did not let Jade start in NXT like they did with Julia and Stephanie McCool, because having Jade start in NXT for at least 2 to 3 years would have given her a basic in-ring experience in wrestling and cutting promos in WWE. DJ Kuzmos signing off. Thank you, DJ. Well, yeah, you bring up some great points. I mean, I've hammered home the fact that there's no emotional connection, which is what's causing the lack of reaction that she feels entitled to simply because of her look. And let's be honest, if you were able to put truth serum in her and not have her be able to think of an answer that doesn't make it look like she's extremely narcissistic, she would tell you, no, I should be getting this reaction. I mean, look at me. That's what she would want to say. That's what her brain wants to say. You know it because that's all she's leaned on. At the same time, and I continue to say that she has improved generally in the ring. Enough to the point where we should feel like she's ready to hold a championship? No, she's not there yet. And that's what the fans are telling her. Hey, Jade, like, hey, we get it. You look like you're created from wrestling gods and goddesses. We understand that. And it's great. You look the part, but you don't feel the part. You don't play the part well. Right? So you look on the outside like you could move mountains and be sculpted out of stone, all of that. And that's incredible and that's wonderful. But boy, that in and of itself has never and will never, ever pull at the heartstrings of fans. Ever. You can sit there and say, oh my gosh, or what did she say in her tweet on X? What did she say? Something like, oh, she said, quote, like, wow. Yeah. We're thinking the same thing, Jade. We're thinking the same thing about you. Can we get a little backstory? And that's uncreative, but if I were Jade, I'd be pushing it too. And she does. She inherently gives off the I'm better than you vibe. And if all she says is her tagline, I mean, I could do that. That's not an acquired skill. We know what your tagline is. A storm is coming. You got a great entrance. I actually really enjoy her entrance. I really like her music. She's got that going for her too. But see, all of these are superficial. All of these are things that should trigger your mind to cheer for somebody that you authentically can relate to. That's what she's missing. That's what the company's missing. And it's clear she's not good at promos. Unless there's something we're hiding, or that they're hiding and they're going to spring it on us, but I doubt it. So, yeah, Jade, I'm not giving up on her, but I mean, Naomi's light years ahead of her. Light years. I mean, Naomi, I may not, some things in the ring she's done. Like, I'm glad she changed her rear view finish. Thank God. And now Asuka's adopted it, but nonetheless, Naomi has just clicked into her promos. Her look, she's been rebirthed. That's what Jade needs. She needs to stop thinking about her taglines and how she's looking on camera and just go out there and try to pull some part of her real personality onto the show and magnify it. Because then you don't have to try to act. You just are yourself. That's what she needs to do. And this is not, this is not rocket science when it comes to what needs to be done. Is it easy? No. Simple and easy are two different things. What's simple isn't always easy. So, that's what she needs. We all know it. Thank you, DJ. Well, let's go to, let's see, Dino. Dino's been a while, my friend. He says, it's 7 a.m. here in Scotland on July 4th. Here is the earliest correct prediction you'll ever hear. Sami Zayn will win the 2026 Royal Rumble. You heard it here first. Dino, that is a very good prediction. I haven't even actually thought about the Rumble yet. What are we? Is the Rumble in February this year? Which is just, again, it's sacrilegious to me. Whatever it is, we're almost halfway to the Rumble again. I think he is in the top 3 of contenders, if I'm being honest. Yes, it is. I mean, again, we don't know the landscape of the company in the next few months to start to think about it. I mean, who's champion? When Cena drops his title in mid-December, if he holds it that long, who does he drop it to? And are there injuries that are unforeseen? All of that stuff. But if all holds true, Sami Zayn is absolutely a top contender. Yes, I mean, they're laying the foundation work now. They're laying the foundational work with all of these people telling him you'll never be champion. Yes, you will be champion. No, you won't be champion. They are laying it right now for the underdog from the underground to come out and win the 2026 Royal Rumble. I think if done right, the fans will really be behind this and support this and believe this. Jey Uso winning last year, I know a lot of people supported it, but there were a subset of fans, including myself, that just felt it didn't feel right. We understood why. Yes, he's over, but it felt like he was over in a way. How do I describe this? So there's being over, as again, this is a fan speaking, so what do I know? I've never been in a wrestling ring. According to Triple H, I shouldn't have an opinion, but at least a pre-approved one. I feel that being over with the crowd doesn't always mean that the crowd is ready to accept you as champion. And I can't eloquently put it into words, where Jey has always been over with the fans. They have been with him with the crowd reactions and the yeet and the arm movements, and he's coming through the crowd, all of that. But just because you're over to that level doesn't mean that it's super deep. Like, fans can still really enjoy being with you, being a part of your entrance, saying yeet. So it's almost like a participatory connection. It's like you do this, we do that. You've got a lot of high energy. You're fun. But when you get beyond all of that, do fans really care? And can they actually see you being a champion? Do you feel like a champion to fans before you get the belt? The answer for a lot of fans is no. And it ended up panning out where Jey didn't feel. I mean, WWE management clearly felt the same way when they corrected course by giving Gunther the belt back. So Sami winning next year with the connection that Jey and Sami have, maybe Jey and Sami are the last two next year. Yeah, maybe they are. Okay, good to hear from you, Dino. Been a while. Or as the kids say, been a hot minute. All right, let's go to Stevie G. And he says, I thought it was noteworthy that Cody made comments about the finish from SummerSlam after acknowledging the horrible WrestleMania finish. If I could make a prediction, I kind of feel like the groundwork for Cena's babyface turn is little by little getting laid out. And I almost feel like Cody is turning heel on the horizon, and it needs to happen. I feel in my gut that Rock will have some sort of involvement based on the statements Cody made. I'm not sure how they would do it, but I predict Cody takes the belt in a heelish fashion and Cena will lose the belt. I think that losing to Cody will also set up Cena and The Rock going head-to-head at a PLE in another last match ever fashion. All right, so before I continue, you've only got another quick thought, but I want to respond to this first. Cody has talked about the acknowledgement of, WrestleMania sucked. Not in a corporate suit way the way he speaks, but he pretty much acknowledged, it wasn't a great finish, and my bad, our bad, we'll do better, and we got a mulligan coming up at SummerSlam. And I hope they do. Look, I'm fine with if The Rock wants to come out and they want to do what should have happened at WrestleMania, by all means. Have at it. It's not going to change the fact that you guys done effed up in the biggest spot in the biggest WrestleMania of all time, according to them. But again, every WrestleMania is the biggest WrestleMania of all time until the next WrestleMania, which is the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Of course, I don't know how they measure big, probably by dollars and cents these days. But this is certainly possible, Stevie. This is definitely possible. And Cena's turning babyface no matter what. They could do whatever they want. John Cena could end up unaliving people's grandmothers on a weekly basis. He could turn it into a segment on Raw where he takes the person you're with, say you're with a family member, and he unalives them in the middle of the ring. And you're standing there, and eventually people would not care. I mean, just it's an extreme, just dramatic, ridiculous example. But my point about all this is people aren't going to care. Once they get to, really, it's already starting to happen now. And with how good Cena is at promos, which we saw in his reverse pipe bomb promo on Punk, that was just outstanding. People are just realizing, I don't care what you say, what you do. We're going to see through it. Go ahead and run us down, run our city down, run our sports team down, check off all the typical the boxes of being a heel to get heat, cheer for the opposing, hated rival sports team, wear their jersey when you come out, talk about how we're spoiled and we're in an abusive relationship. What? I don't care. Go down the list. People aren't going to care because they have realized John Cena has 15 dates left. And if I'm in a city where he's at, I don't care what he says or does. We're here because we can appreciate him being here. And the fourth wall is broken. And it should be. People should just appreciate John Cena. Now, if you want to go there and boo him, by all means. But I think it organically will happen because we're human beings. And the reality is starting to set in that John Cena is leaving. And leaving for good. He's not here on a kind of half-ass retirement tour. No, he's done after middle December. He's just stated it that his final match is in mid-December. Not the end of December, mid-December, whatever that means. I looked at the PLE schedule. There's a Saturday night main event that's to be determined, squeezed in there. There's an NXT event that's squeezed in there. I think it's called, what's the NXT event called? I can't remember. But there's an NXT event, but there's no big PLE in December. Unless they want to make it December to remember, but I don't think they'll go there. I just really believe there's nothing they can do. And they can do whatever they want to keep him heel, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They don't even need to set the table for him to turn babyface. It's going to happen no matter what. And as far as Cody turning heel, I mean, I've been on that boat for years. Literally years that he is made to be a heel. His mannerisms, his outfits, just the way he speaks, everything. The dude's a heel. Even The Undertaker sees it and has said it as such, that his best days are going to be as a heel. And, time will tell. But everything about him screams heel. Everything. From the stupid blonde hair and his tapered suits and his, the way he speaks, and he's so self-satisfied, and he's always trying to play the good guy to a point of nauseum. I mean, the dude is he's a heel. You take his music out, and I think he could turn heel. But I don't know. So your scenario, though, The Rock comes back and Cody turns heel. I mean, what is Cody going to sell his soul to The Rock? Was this all a ruse with Cody and The Rock? I mean, then it gets just preposterous. So I don't know how exactly that happens. But okay, last point here. Also, as I write this email, I found myself laughing at your tangent about Jade during the Raw review, and you noting that she wasn't even on Raw. You do tend to go off the rails, but you always have a lot of great points, which is why I listen. You and the gang do a great show. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you, and happy 4th to you as well, Stevie. I mean, I go off the rails. You guys are getting an inside look, for better or worse, a lot of times worse, into my brain. I really try to stay on task. I try. But sometimes I just go way off. And then I just go down this rabbit hole and I have to remember what the hell was I even talking about. But I think wrestling is inherently like that because there are so many scenarios that could play out that you go down a rabbit hole of one of a million and then you forget what road you're even on. That's wrestling though. You know, if this, then that, then this. Well, what if I did this and then try to tweak this? And what if we did this now, but then later we do that? Like, it's a topic that has infinite solutions, which is why I think it's difficult to stay on task. All right. Thank you. Let's go to one. I think this is my last email, and then we have a few voicemails that we will get to. So let's... Oh, this is a good one. Suggestion on my show. So this one is from Scotty. He says, "What's up, Matt? Hope you're having a good day. So I have something to get off my chest about the show, and I hope you don't take it the wrong way. I have a suggestion. Would it be possible to do a co-host when you do reviews? Not to take anything away from you. You're doing a good job, but I feel like you go off topic and long rants that you've already talked about before. Complaining about WWE is fine. I have no problem with that. But it's when you talk about the same stuff multiple times, like Rock and Cody and Triple H and now Jade. I'm a fan of your show. I know I talked about this in the Discord before, and someone told me to watch a different podcast. Oh, jeez. If I don't like it, that's like me telling you to watch a different wrestling show if I don't like it, or if I don't like WWE. I'm trying to give my opinion like you do with this podcast. If I have to look like the bad guy to post a negative mailbag, then that's fine. I'll be the heel. I want the show to be better and attract more listeners. That's my suggestion, and let me know what you think. No, Scotty, no, absolutely. Here's what I'm not going to tell you to listen to another show. You came to me very respectfully and said, look, here's something that I find annoying. Here's what you can do better. I can take criticism in a way that's done professionally and with respect. So I'm not. I know some people are thinking I'm going to say, oh my God, then go watch. No, I mean, you can. You're more, you do you, bro. I mean, if I'm not your flavor, go to Wade Keller, go to Jason Powell. They're both great. Yeah, I really enjoy both of them. I mean, they're both, they're actually a lot of the reason I started doing this 10 years ago. So, certainly there's options out there. There's a zillion wrestling podcasts, but the big ones we all know. We all, if you're listening to this show, you're probably listening to more than just this show, right? You've got, Busted Open. They're, I think, one of the number one, number two. They're huge. Busted Open. And I have mixed feelings on them. Nothing personal. I have mixed feelings on them. What did I see today? Was it something about Bubba Ray Dudley? He's talking about, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit about Gunther and Goldberg. And I'm like, dude, there's no curtain left. What do you mean you're going to pull back the curtain? He thinks he's being some guy. He's like revolutionary about pulling back the curtain on something when the product itself on a weekly basis pulls back the curtain and does it without shame. So I really have nothing personally. They're very successful. But back to my point, I absolutely, if you think that would help the show, and I used to do co-hosted shows, and it just was really tough with my schedule to coordinate, and it certainly would be a good thing to kind of mix it up and not just hear me rant for 50 minutes. I get it, and I'm well aware too that bringing on another voice to talk with me would be a good thing. It absolutely would be. And then I keep trying to do video. Here's the thing, Scotty. It's not a matter of will. It's a matter of time. And everybody seems these days pressed for time. Everybody's got their own life, their own, I've got so much going on, you don't even know. I've got this, I've got that, I've got this stress, I've got that stress. We all do. So I guess, I don't really need to explain to anybody. I mean, I've got kids. Even if you don't, you have a lot of people have busy lives, even if you don't have kids. Like, I understand, and so it's just a time thing. It's a time thing. And honestly, though, Scotty, I am trying to grow the show, but the hardest thing I've realized over the last several years is not actually creating the show, editing it. That's time consuming. It's marketing. Because by the time you're done editing and you're posting it and you're exhausted, you're like, I don't want to promote this thing. So you just leave it out there. You're just like, you kind of hope people somehow stumble on it. So, or you could pay to have it marketed, but that gets expensive real quick. So the self-marketing is also more time consuming. It's a matter of time, just time. And I appreciate it though. I appreciate it, Scotty. No harm, no foul. I'm not gonna be nasty because no, you were very respectful. So, okay, I encourage you to continue to listen, but I hear you loud and clear. I don't disagree with you. If I were a listener of this show, I'd be thinking the same thing. All right, let's get to those voicemails, and we're going to start with Alex the French guy.
Alex the French guy here, your current European champion. I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan, let's be honest. I'm not a fan of his character. I think sometimes he feels forced, and his promos doesn't feel natural. But at Night of Champion, just after the match against Randy Orton, you have a untainted, a to the core, which could be what we are looking for in the Cody Rhodes character, cutting a good promo, an after-match promo after facing Randy Orton, and I completely am with this side of his character. Let's hear it a little bit. Not all of it, but the main part, what is the most important part for me.
As an audience when I go up against these beloved characters, but I want you to hear it from me. I was born to do this, whether it be CM Punk or John Cena. They are holding on to that belt for themselves, and they are holding on to it for me, because at SummerSlam, I get the ball back.
You see, that's what I'm talking about the Cody Rhodes character. Might as well be a baby face for at least 1 to 2 years, but might as well authentify yourself, because when you see this cocky Cody Rhodes saying that he's born for this, you can see that he's thinking about this. He knows, and he absolutely thinking what he's saying when he's saying, I was born for this, with this cockiness, with the suits, with everything. Of course, you have the line that is very thin between a heel and a face character. So in my opinion, the Cody Rhodes character should definitely go to this route when doing the promo, when articulating the character, and especially with this tone of voice that was absolutely great. You had a little bit of fatigue in the voice as well. That was really great. For once, I gotta say that was a great, let's say not promo because it was just about a minute or two, but it was great after-match promo. Cody Rhodes should definitely incline into this character that absolutely aligns with, in myself, what I think is the real Cody Rhodes character. Bye, guys.
Alex, so you and I differ a little bit on this. Here's where I agree with you. The passion in his voice. We'll call it a promo because that's what we're going to call it right now. He was very passionate. It came from a real place. There's nothing phony about that. I don't think this was really forced. So, yeah, and him saying he was born for this, yes, cool. I want to hear that. That's a good thing to hear as a babyface. That will get the crowd behind you. I can relate to that. I can understand that. So that's great. And that's where you and I agree. The part of this that I don't agree with, and I've already hammered Cody on this in the post-review, him calling the wrestlers beloved characters. Because, I mean, I don't mean to rehash it, but since you played it, I don't want to hear that they're beloved characters. Can he just call them competitors? Wrestlers? Are we really going to say beloved characters? I know what he's saying. We know what he means. He's saying, look, I'm a babyface going against other babyfaces. I know that puts you guys in a weird position, but still love me and understand why I have to fight them. But don't call them beloved characters. That's the part that really set me off. I know there's good stuff. I gave you the good stuff. This spoiled the whole promo for me, though, because again, it's pandering. It's like acknowledging, hey, the thing is, if you felt strong enough in your character, you wouldn't even have to acknowledge that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even have to. If you were very confident that the fans would stick with you and wouldn't have to feel like they are a little bit, oh man, we got to choose sides. What do we do? Let's choose the guy that understands the position we're in. That's a sign of weakness in his character, I would argue. It's a little bit of, I think, a little bit of self-consciousness, a little bit of, I think, lack of confidence in his character to be able to go against these guys that he knows are coming down the line that are also mega baby faces, and he's going to have to beat them, and the crowd's going to have to decide who they're going to cheer for. If your character was that solid and you were that confident, you wouldn't even have to acknowledge this. It would just happen. So that's how I dissect and psychoanalyze this one. But anyway, no, Alex, I understand. I totally get what you're saying. It's the first half of that promo that completely murdered anything else that happened after. I mean, it just sucked the life out of anything else that it could have taken positively out of it. All right, let's get to our next one.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take you to my 51st episode of The Drudge Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. Before we start today's show, I must mention two quick things. The first thing, in response to your comment, Matt, about Joe Hendry not getting a loud pop on his recent appearance on NXT, I have to agree with you. I saw that clip a couple of times, and it was very bizarre, very strange to me that Joe Hendry did not get a loud pop, especially the fact that this was his first return since his loss to Trick Williams at NXT Battleground. He comes in on this episode, the music hits, but he comes from behind and attacks Trick Williams, but yet there was not a loud pop for Joe Hendry. I don't know what was going on. Hopefully it was just for that episode, because it looks like Joe Hendry will be on a couple of episodes on NXT as the road to his contractual rematch for TNA Slammiversary continues. And let's talk about this updated card for TNA Slammiversary, which will be happening on Sunday, July 20th, live from Elmont, New York, in Long Island at the UBS Arena. So far, we have Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship. It is Joe Hendry's contractual rematch. We also have Leon Slater versus Moose for the TNA X Division Championship. And also, we now have a 4-way tag team ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team titles of the Nemeth brothers, which of course, they are the tag team champions of Ryan Nemeth and Nick Nemeth. We also have the Rascals of Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. We also have the Hardy Boys of Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. And of course, First Class of AJ Francis and KC Navarro. All four of these tag teams are going to be in this ladder match. In my opinion, I believe that the favorite is the Rascals of Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz to become the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. Now let's take it back to a TV taping from TNA Pro Wrestling from last week as they were in Pittsburgh. We had Joe Hendry as he thanks the crowd for their support during this tough time for him and for TNA after when he dropped the TNA Championship to Trick Williams, an outsider at NXT Battleground. He vows that he wants to get back the TNA World title, not just for him, but to bring it back to TNA for the fans as they continue to believe in him, as they believed in him through his ascension, as he made an appearance at the Royal Rumble, as he had his match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41, of course, when he won the TNA World Championship at TNA Genesis in January, and then when he made an appearance at Triple Mania Regia a couple of days ago. With all of those appearances, with all of those amazing things that happened for Joe Hendry, he answered the question to the crowd, can you support me once again, as he's now on the road to his redemption to regain the TNA World title at Slammiversary. And it is official, like I did mention, it's going to be Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship. But before we get there, Joe Hendry must face Wes Lee on an episode of NXT. And let's get to that match, folks, of Joe Hendry versus Wes Lee to open up the NXT show. This match lasted 6 minutes and 30 seconds, but let me quickly paint a picture for you guys, as obviously we had Wes Lee, the challenger. We also had Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion. He was sitting at ringside at the commentating desk, and then we had Wes Lee's two huge lackeys in Tyson and Tyreek of High Rise to help none other than Wes Lee try to get the victory. But as we fast forward to the course of this match, we see Joe Hendry delivering a fisherman's carry. That's right, folks. Joe Hendry delivers a fisherman carry to Wes Lee. Then Joe goes for the cover, but then Tyson puts Wes Lee's leg at the bottom rope to break the count. Then we see Tyson and Tyreek of High Rise as they stand on the ringside apron to distract both the referee and Joe Hendry, as Wes Lee was getting ready to do his come from behind attack on Joe Hendry. But then all of a sudden, we get the appearance of a new person that has been added to the storyline, and that is Mike Santana. Mike Santana appears. He pulls down Tyreek to the ringside area, and he attacks both Tyson and Tyreek of High Rise. And then we see Joe Hendry. He ducks out of a potential enziguri from Wes Lee, and then Joe Hendry goes for the standing ovation, and 1, 2, 3. Joe Hendry gets the victory against Wes Lee in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. But the question you may ask is, who is Mike Santana? And I'm glad you asked, because 1 full week ago, in the main event, on an episode of TNA Pro Wrestling, we had AJ Francis, also known as Top Dollar. He had a match, a street fight match, against Mike Santana. Mike Santana got the victory in that main event in the street fight match, but the key thing I want you to remember here is that Mike Santana gets on the microphone and declares that he wants to be involved in the TNA World Championship match at Slammiversary, which of course we have Hendry and Trick Williams. And then early on yesterday afternoon, we see none other than the Director of Authority, Mr. Santino Marella, adding Mike Santana to what is now a triple threat for the TNA World Championship at TNA Slammiversary. But I gotta say, as much as I believe in Joe Hendry, I too believe in Mike Santana. This guy is from the Bronx, New York. If you haven't seen him wrestle, this guy has charisma. This guy, he cuts really good promos, and he's very good in the ring, very scrappy. He's kind of a street fighter, kind of similar to Damian Priest. And of course, he's from Puerto Rican heritage. I witnessed Mike Santana last year in September at a House of Glory wrestling show as he successfully defended his championship. Also, this, my friends, is going to be a very interesting triple threat of Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, and Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship that will be happening on Sunday, July 20th, live from Long Island, New York at the UBS Arena. Then we get a backstage segment. And this backstage segment is an interview of Kelly interviewing both Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. And Hendry says to Mike, "I appreciate you coming out and helping me take out High Rise." Santana interrupts Joe Hendry and says, "You and I are going to be throwing hands in 2.5 weeks at TNA Slammiversary. But the reality is that we are united when it comes to defending TNA against guys like Trick Williams and High Rise." Kelly quickly mentions that Ava Raine, the general manager of NXT, scheduled a tag team match of Joe Hendry and Mike Santana going up against Tyson and Tyreek for the next episode of NXT. Hendry then tells Santana, "We are completely different, but we do have one thing in common, and that's a quest to bring back the TNA World Championship back to TNA. Santana acknowledges that Hendry reps TNA to the max, but he says, "Let me make myself perfectly clear. I'm going to be the one to bring back the TNA World title back home to TNA, so get ready for Slammiversary." Joe Hendry closed it off with this statement to Mr. Mike Santana and says, that job is fit for one man, and you're looking at him. And that is official, folks. We have two things coming up on the pipeline in this Joe Hendry storyline. Next week, we're going to have Joe Hendry and Mike Santana against Tyson and Tyreek of High Rise. And then at the Great American Bash, that's right, folks, the Great American Bash, which will be happening on Saturday, July 12th, we're going to have a contract signing for the TNA World Championship. And this will include in this contract signing Trick Williams, Joe Hendry, and Mike Santana. Always remember to believe, say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
Well, DJ, thank you. And Mike Santana. There you go. There's a name that I bet you a lot of folks that watch just the main roster haven't heard before. Good to hear what his character's about, who you can equate him to. I believe you said Damian Priest. That is something that a lot of us obviously can. And that, I would say, is good to know because he potentially is a guy. He's got a good look. I'm looking at him right now. I could see him in WWE. I previewed a little bit of his work as you were talking just so I could familiarize myself with who the hell I'm looking at. But, and as far as Trick Williams goes and Joe Hendry, I will say, too, that the idea that we should be concerned about Joe Hendry's lack of reaction. I mean, I'm not. It was something I know I brought up last week, and it was just surprising to hear because everything leading up to that point, you had seen just Joe Hendry getting massive pop after massive pop after massive pop, and then you hear this, and you're like, oh boy. But I'm not too concerned about it. Everybody has an off night or two. But good to hear what's going on there. And you saw him at the House of Horrors, you said, with your first time seeing him, and I think this is going to be something to keep an eye on with Trick Williams and Joe Hendry and Santana. I appreciate the update because I know a lot of us don't watch it. So this is how we're getting our updates. Keep an eye on the star building process, guys. I know it's not always the most interesting because everybody wants the big stars and they want them now. But the big stars got to start somewhere. Not everyone becomes one, but in order to start on that journey, we got to watch them from something. So thank you, DJ. And hope your 4th was good in your undisclosed location. Let's go to a couple more and close out the show here. So let's see who this is.
Hey, it's Zawaz from the Indianapolis area. Hey, I just wanted to comment on the Sami Zayn match this weekend. I think he's going to lose. I think this is going to give Sami Zayn the turn to a heel that he needs to have when he loses to Cross. And Cross and him are somehow going to join forces. Because Sami's going to turn in a way that's going to make him a real bad guy. Also, I think because Cross has also gone off after AJ Styles, possibly that could be a next target. I don't know. I'd really like to see Cross pick up what Raven did back in the day, where he created the Raven's flock and basically beat up guys, and the next thing you know, they were following him like a cult leader. So I think that would be a cool thing for Cross. But I don't know. We'll see. That's all I got.
Hey, Was, not a bad idea. But the question is, again, there's two schools of thought here. Is WWE laying the groundwork with some of the guys telling you never be champion? Oh, I'm looking at a future world champion. And with, I believe it was Dino from Scotland who said, hey, this is a guy that we're setting up to win the Rumble. It is, if you read the tea leaves that way, you wouldn't be necessarily wrong. I mean, you could make the case that they're laying the groundwork for that right now. But, as you said, with Karrion Kross lurking around, maybe poisoning the mind of Sami Zayn, he could end up doing that. And I would actually argue that's the better path right now because it would help elevate Karrion Kross. Sammy would bring up Karrion Kross. So there is that to be said. And Karrion Kross, I hope, does something more significant other than just trying to, get in the head of Sami Zayn, ultimately it going nowhere. All of these, poisoning thoughts that he's trying to get into the mind of Sami have really not manifested themselves anywhere or into anything at this point. So, yeah, I would have to go that's the more interesting road, unless they feel that Sami is being kind of groomed right now to win a world championship. So, tough call. This is a tough call of what they're going to do with Sami, but Sami's a major player. Either way, Sami's a major player moving forward in the next 4 to 6 months. No question about it. Thank you, Waz. All right, one final voicemail, and we'll wrap it up.
It's Kyle for Baltimore. So I wanted to just talk about the women's division around fast. I know it's my major favorite scene that I have to talk about, but Jade Cargill winning, I don't like that choice because she's not good in the ring. Her match with Asuka sucked. And I know how good Asuka is in the ring with other people. Just haven't been all that invested in Jade Cargill at all. And the scene with Naomi doesn't interest me. Their match at WrestleMania was it good? So and the idea of them doing, because now as it stands is it's Jade and Tiffany. That doesn't excite me as a match. I just feel like the storyline in the women's division I'm mostly invested in is what Becky is doing with both Lyra and Bayley. Io's been a nothing champion, which has been a wake up. Kind of still sex. I'm a big Io Sky fan, but he's not done anything since he won the title back in March. And has done nothing coming out of WrestleMania. The whole thing with Liz's injury kind of going to derail the thing what they're going to do with Roxanne. I don't know what Roxanne's going to be doing. At this point, I would have pivoted her to be included into the women's IC title picture. I would have done that. Would have had Roxanne and Lyra feud with each other. That'd be cool to see. Maybe at some point that will end up happening. Then whenever Becky turns babyface, it could be Roxanne and Becky, because that's what Leah's feud that people want to see. See Roxanne and Becky at some point. So that doesn't excite me. But beyond that, Io has nothing to do right now. Rhea is kind of in the background doing nothing neither. She's super over with nothing to do. And it's this whole Liv injury has kind of derailed the plans for the women's division heading into Evolution. I don't know what they're going to do at Evolution too, because there's been no type of tease at all what they're going to do with our show, and it's a month away. So, or I guess in a couple of weeks at this point, since June's almost over with. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know what they plan on doing, but I thought the show was fine I thought Night Champions was fine for what it was, but I think the women's division in general on both Raw and SmackDown is just kind of not interesting of the major champions that are involved. Because if I find Becky super interesting as IC champion and Io, that's a problem. I thought that way when Becky was the NXT Women's Champion too, when Rhea was champion a couple years ago. But same feel, which is kind of sad. Cause again, I do love Io. I don't know what she does moving forward, heading into SummerSlam and Evolution, but that's what we'll wait and see. But I just enjoy what Becky's doing with Lyra and Bayley, but I don't know what they plan on doing with Io moving forward. But that is it. Just for a call. Bye.
Kyle, I'm glad you brought up the women's division. Yeah, I haven't spent a whole lot of time on it, and that's not a good thing because the women have an Evolution PLE coming up just a couple weeks. It's a big deal. Women only PLE. And there has been little to no promotion. I don't feel excited about it, and I should. Nowhere near the first excitement that we felt when this happened. I forget when the first Evolution was, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. But it was, I remember coming out of the show saying, wow, this is maybe one of the best PLEs of the entire year. It was awesome. I didn't like how everyone came out and bowed like it was a community theater play at the end with Stephanie in the middle. I hated that. But other than that, you take that piece out of hey, thanks for the enjoying the performance, everybody. What you just saw wasn't real. That's essentially what I hated that. But the actual wrestling matches themselves, awesome storylines, everything just clicked that night. This feels like an afterthought. Now, we're also in a environment now where WWE is cranking out PLEs on a bi-weekly basis. I mean, this is going to come and go. Boom. And then we got the next one. We had Saturday Night Main Event the night before. Then we got the Evolution PLE. Oh, boom. Then we got SummerSlam, and Evolution is going to be forgotten. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll check it off the box that we did another Evolution. Okay, we'll see you guys in another 5 years. It does not feel like this has been exactly a priority for WWE. And I understand they have multiple priorities. They can't have the Evolution PLE be the end-all, be-all. But the fact that it's the second ever women's only PLE, it should feel bigger than it is. I'm not excited for it because they've given me no reason to be excited for it. Okay, fine. We've got Rhea and we've got Io. Great, fine. That's going to be a fun PLE matchup. And I don't mean that in a pandering way. That's going to be fun. But other than that, like, what you doing? It's not exciting. And sure, they've got 2 weeks, which in WWE land is a pay-per-view cycle now. I mean, that's just how. I mean, that's the timestamp that we have. The increment of time that we have now between PLEs. So they're like, hey, we haven't even started promoting for it yet. We haven't entered Evolution season yet. We got to wait till we're 2 weeks out. So maybe this coming week and next week, before the PLE the following week, we get a decent card, and all of a sudden it's boom. Okay, great. Okay, now we're starting to really build towards it. It doesn't help though that Saturday Night Main Event's right on its heels. That does not help because then it doesn't have its own spotlight. It has to share the spotlight with Saturday Night Main Event. That's poor booking. I don't need another Saturday Night Main Event. Why is there? I don't want more Saturday Night Main Events. I want Saturday Night Main Event to be like once a year. It's like this random thing that pops up. You're like, oh, cool. They're doing like a Saturday Night Main Event. It's quasi-PLE. Let's go. They're shoving them in a schedule that already is jam-packed full of PLEs to the point of just it's too much. And it takes away the spotlight from Evolution that should have its own weekend. I don't like it. So I don't care if it's headlined by Goldberg and Gunther. I don't care. No one's really interested in that match from the perspective of it being a good match. We know what it's going to be. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Evolution has been really just an afterthought, and I really don't like that. But we'll see what happens these next couple of weeks. Maybe they blow us away. I know there's talk about stars coming out of the woodwork, and maybe Molly Holly or Trish Stratus, and who really has never left. I mean, so no one would really lose their minds over Trish coming back or Tori Wilson or okay, fine. You bring back the stars of yesteryear, fine. Okay, Nikki Bella's going to get her 2 minutes of fame again. But, Liv, that whole injury, it derailed a lot of things, more than I think we realized. Liv was more of an important part of that women's division, and I think a lot of us even realize until she's now gone and out. And I can't wait till she comes back. She is just a centerpiece of the company. One of, not the only, but yes, Rhea is, quote unquote, moreover. Rhea is still a bigger star, but Liv is... Boy, you talk about a rocket ship being strapped to her, and deservingly so, and she has proven it. And with the Dominic story and taking over Evolution and telling Rhea, I'm going to take everything from you, and she did, and the revenge tour that she actually completed and made it worthwhile. I mean, Liv has just been so fun week in and week out, and then she gets hurt, and you're like, oh crap, and WWE's like, oh crap, we got Evolution. What do we do? Who's Nikki Bella going to face? So this is a PLE that I am sad to say, as of this moment, and that could change in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks from tonight, I could be like, man, I can't wait for Evolution this weekend. But as if it was tomorrow night, I'd be like, nah, and I don't want to feel that way. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me here on this Mailbag show. Again, I'm on vacation this coming week, so times of publishing should be close to the same as usual with our publishing of Raw and SmackDown and so forth, but we'll see. But I'm going to be trying to record. I will not have this microphone that's right in front of me here, so the audio quality will be a little bit less, but not horrible. So keep that in mind as you hear my shows over the next 7 days with the Raw review on Tuesday night that I'll be doing. And if I do the Mailbag on Friday night, it'll be in front of not this microphone, but again, a semi-quality microphone. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. If you want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast, or go to Apple and click on the subscribe button and get ad-free experiences right there. Happy 4th, everybody. Stay safe. We'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.